Welcome back to the Restricted Handling Daily Intel Brief. This is what's been going on in Iran and the Middle East in the past 24 hours. The central Middle East story is a technical breakthrough in the Strait of Hormuz that still leaves the political bargain wide open. Iran and Oman say they've agreed coordinates for a new commercial shipping route and are drafting a joint statement. Iranian officials say the channel would pass largely through Iranian territorial waters, with portions in Omani waters, and could operate for several months. Coordinates matter because ships, insurers, and naval forces need a clear lane before traffic can normalize. But a map doesn't answer the hardest questions. Who controls inbound passage? What services are compulsory? Can either side charge fees? Who clears mines, investigates attacks, and guarantees that a vessel following the route won't be targeted? Iran wants the arrangement to convert wartime control into recognized leverage. Sources briefed on the talks say Tehran seeks authority over inbound Gulf traffic while Oman would oversee outbound movement. Washington has resisted any deal that appears to reward Iran with control over an international chokepoint. Oman has previously stressed freedom of navigation and opposition to transit fees, so a bilateral announcement may still leave a major dispute with the United States and Gulf exporters. President Donald Trump is describing the discussions positively. Iranian officials say a broader final agreement isn't imminent and warn that outside actors could obstruct the joint statement. That warning gives Tehran a ready explanation if the process stalls. The real test will come when commercial vessels receive instructions and owners decide whether the security terms are credible enough to sail. Iran is negotiating while making an explicit regional threat. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has told Saudi, Turkish, Qatari, Omani, and Pakistani counterparts that renewed American strikes could trigger attacks on American assets and energy infrastructure across the Gulf. Saudi Arabia has urged Washington to delay military action and pursue diplomacy, while making clear that it would respond if attacked. The logic is coercive deterrence. Tehran wants Gulf governments to become advocates for restraint in Washington because their refineries, power grids, water systems, and ports could be caught in the exchange. The danger is obvious. A warning meant to prevent a strike can prompt defensive deployments, preemptive planning, and an even more nervous military posture. Shipping behavior shows that the risk remains high. Vessel traffic through Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb has dropped sharply. The Houthis claim attacks on Saudi-linked tankers near Yanbu and in the Gulf of Aden, although several key claims remain unconfirmed, and independent maritime reporting has identified uncertainty around alleged hits. Verification doesn't have to arrive for the economic cost to begin. A threat can make a vessel turn around, go dark, delay loading, or request a much higher premium. Yanbu has become more important because Saudi Arabia can move crude west when Hormuz is constrained. Houthi pressure on that alternative ties the Red Sea and Gulf crises into one energy security problem. Oil prices are now reacting to diplomacy and danger at the same time. Gulf crude and condensate exports remain far below pre-war levels. Before the conflict, roughly 1/5 of global oil and liquefied natural gas flows passed through Hormuz. A working route could release delayed cargoes and reduce immediate risk premiums, but traders need repeated safe transits, not only a statement. The indicators are practical. Count the vessels. Watch war risk insurance, mine clearance activity, port loading, and the behavior of major exporters. If Iran tries to inspect, prioritize, or charge traffic, the route could become a new point of conflict even while it carries more ships. Lebanon is the second major pressure point. 2 Israeli soldiers were killed and 4 wounded in an explosion while operating in a building near Majd al-Zaun. The cause remains under investigation. Israel initially described a Hezbollah violation, then Defense Minister Israel Katz avoided assigning direct blame, a shift that may reflect an effort to contain escalation. Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon killed 1 person and injured at least a dozen, and Israel issued its first online evacuation warning in more than a month. The episode shows how quickly an ambiguous incident can activate retaliation under a fragile truce. One unclear blast produced deaths on both sides and immediately complicated negotiations already underway in Rome. Those talks are focused on pilot zones, where Israeli forces withdraw and the Lebanese army assumes responsibility. One zone has reportedly transferred, and Lebanese officials have proposed Qiyam or Bint Jbeil as the next step. Israel wants proof that Hezbollah weapons and infrastructure won't return. Hezbollah rejects direct normalization and resists disarmament, while the Lebanese state lacks the capacity to impose every term at once. Sequencing is everything. Withdrawal, verification, civilian return, and weapons control have to happen closely enough that neither side sees an exploitable vacuum. If the next pilot zone works, it offers a model for gradual stabilization. If it fails after a deadly incident, both sides will argue that the other exploited restraint. Gaza has the same sequencing problem in a different form. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israeli forces won't withdraw until Hamas fully disarms. Hamas presents disarmament as conditional on a halt to strikes and a phased Israeli withdrawal. Public claims of progress don't resolve who verifies weapons removal, who governs during transition, or what happens after an alleged violation. Inside Iran, official media is emphasizing endurance and diplomatic access. The message presents negotiations and regional contacts as proof that Tehran cannot be bypassed. At the same time, the United Nations human rights chief says Iran has carried out at least 56 executions since March. The government is promoting cohesion while enforcing it through fear. Iranian audiences are being told that the Hormuz route validates sovereign rights, military readiness made diplomacy possible, and regional contacts prove Tehran can't be isolated. That story leaves internal dissent and executions outside the frame. It also treats threats to infrastructure as warnings that preserve peace. The next move depends on operational behavior. A coordinated route announcement, consistent vessel instructions, and several safe transits would be real progress. One confirmed tanker strike, one larger Israeli-Hezbollah exchange, or one collapse in the Hormuz drafting process could reverse the mood fast. Every major actor currently believes it has leverage. The danger comes when two of them decide to cash it in at the same time. Thanks for listening. The headlines will keep coming, so we'll keep sorting signal from noise. Find the daily written brief at restrictedhandling.substack.com, and we'll be back with more tomorrow. Prosody.